What's up? Welcome back, guys. Dan, the bodybuilder from Thailand here, once again, to talk to you, this time about Anavar. Alright, so I'm going to be reading off of Ultimate Guide to ROIDS, which is my 109-page ebook, going over everything about anabolic steroids, all the different steroids, all the different performance-enhancing drugs, and what they do in the real world. And you can know that it's, written by me, not some anonymous person on the internet, so you can actually trust what it says. And I just go over with no bias and no holding back, everything you need to do in order to look like what you want to look like. Even if that includes drug abuse, I don't promote it, but I say how to do it, so unfortunately, a lot of the physiques that people want to get, the guys who are really glamorizing what they're doing, that's also coming at a very high cost, because drug abuse is required to have those bodies. So I don't sugarcoat this in the book. I tell you exactly what you need to do, what you need to know. All right, so let's go ahead and start reading the Anavar section from Ultimate Guide to ROIDS by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand. But first, let's read one paragraph of the side effects of Winstrol. Bonus! Winstrol is notorious for giving pumps so full and extreme that they are very painful, and at times can even mess up your workout. There's a funny side effect called Winnie foot, where you are walking and the muscles in the soles of your feet begin to develop an unbelievable pump and start cramping. This can cause you to have to stop walking to let it subside, or to walk with a slight limp or Winnie foot for a little while. People who say Winstrol dries out my joints are being deceived by placebo effect and incorrect statements they have read on the internet. Winstrol does not dry out your joints. Dieting for a bodybuilding competition, taking excessive anti-estrogens, and taking diuretics dries out your joints. Since Winstrol is arguably the #1 pre-contest drug for looking shredded, it is often taken at the same time as people are doing extreme dieting, fluid restriction, and taking diuretics. These people confuse their pre-contest habits with Winstrol drying out their joints, and are responsible for the incorrect myth that Winstrol is bad for the joints. This steroid is actually a favorite of professional athletes and Olympic champions. These people, the myth is then parroted by beginner users who experience it as a placebo side effect, drying out your joints. The myth is also parroted by losers on the internet who have never used steroids but give advice on internet forums. Winstrol is the drug of choice for Olympic sprinters and many other athletic sports that put premium value on speed, power, and strength to weight ratio. It makes you very strong. It makes you about as strong as D-ball makes you, but without the weight gain. Anavar. All right, so now we're to the Anavar section of Ultimate Guide to ROIDS by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand, 109-page ebook. The greatest book about bodybuilding that has ever been written. The most true, baby. That's what's up. That is what's fucking up. This book is the shit. Anavar is sort of like Winstrol's little baby brother. It pretty much does everything Winstrol does, but not as proficiently and with better health. It's healthier to take Anavar than it is to take Winstrol, since Anavar does not have such severe effects on cholesterol, blood lipids, or liver. Anavar, like Winstrol, has zero estrogenic activity and will cause no estrogen-related side effects. Anavar is a hardener. It will make you have more pop and 3D to your physique and makes your muscles look more hard and veiny, but it won't do it nearly as well as Winstrol. Anavar promotes more of a full, rounded, capped, polished appearance to the muscles. Those are very difficult qualities to describe. If you read this again after you have some experience with the compound, those hard to describe cosmetic effects of Anavar will make more sense. But one way to put it more clearly is that Winstrol looks a lot sharper than Anavar looks. One thing about Anavar that is great and sets it apart from other oral steroids is the fact that it is not broken down and excreted by the liver, although it is a 17-alpha alkylated steroid that makes it orally ingestible. Normally all oral steroids put stress on the liver, but Anavar does not. Anavar is broken down and excreted by the kidneys, not the liver, and it is unique as an oral steroid in this way. This is a unique quality to Anavar. In medicine, Anavar, chemical name oxandrolone, is used to treat fatty alcoholic liver disease by promoting the buildup of new healthy liver tissue. It's also used in children who have delayed puberty to kickstart them into puberty without riddling them with masculinizing side effects, the way injecting testosterone would. Anavar is used in AIDS patients and people with severe burns to prevent their muscle tissue from wasting away. Anavar is incredible as an anti-catabolic. This is where it really, really shines. It stops muscle loss in its tracks completely. If a person is utilizing Anavar, it will be near impossible for their bodies to metabolize muscle tissue and enter a catabolic state. The minimum effective dosage for 100% real oxandrolone, Anavar, is around 40 milligrams per day. Full effects are felt around 60 to 80 milligrams per day. Contrary to what you hear old timers saying about back in the day, we had real Anavar from the pharmacy, and all you needed was 20 milligrams to make major gains. Nothing more was necessary. Those kinds of statements are grossly untrue and another feeble attempt to mislead the public that steroids are not a necessary part of bodybuilding. 20 milligrams is not going to do a goddamn thing for you unless you've never touched steroids before. I've used 100% legitimate Anavar on several occasions, and the minimum effective dosage is around 40 milligrams per day. If someone tells you Anavar works for them at 20 milligrams per day, then they either probably aren't very big, they are lying, or they have Winstrol that's being faked for Anavar. Anavar doesn't really have any side effects. It can be used comfortably for 8-12 weeks without stopping, and the only side effect anyone really encounters is headaches or some minor cramping. The gains that Anavar gives are entirely muscle tissue. There is no loss in size after a bodybuilder stops using it. Anavar gives a great cosmetic effect to your physique. It's a great steroid. It just needs to be used with realistic expectations at high enough dosage and for a long enough period of time. A cool performance enhancing drug cycle I've seen guys with really skinny shredded physiques use is Anavar, 20 milligrams per day, testosterone, 125 milligrams per week, and pharmaceutical grade growth hormone at 2 IUs per day. This would be the aesthetics boys. The aesthetics boys who don't have a lot of mass, but they just have that look that really, really jumps out, catches a lot of attention. And there's another addition to this too. For the guys who eat a lot of junk food, throw in 1,000 milligrams metformin XR per day and possibly some T3 thyroid hormone. This is a good steroid stack for getting that natural body that is too good to be true. All right, and here's another thing I wanted to mention. This is also discussed in the book Ultimate Guide to ROIDS, which we just finished reading from by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand, which is available in the description and in the comments. There's links to it of this video. So the other thing is that women. Anavar is said to be like a steroid that women can take, okay? Well, that's only if they're okay with having their pussy permanently grow, okay? Because the first thing it does to them is make their pussy start turning into transsexual, pseudo-type penis, vagina hybrid type thing, okay? That sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. You know, if you really must go see it, Google Denise Messino, and that's an example of what happens progressively over time as women use steroids. So, you know how with men, the first thing that happens when you get estrogen side effects is your nipples start to burn, okay? Well, with women, it's their outer private parts that start to burn, okay? When they get masculinizing hormones, okay? That's the first thing that happens to them. So about 26 to 48 hours after they first take their first steroids, their first Anavars, usually about 24 hours. It's usually on the earlier side of that. They start to notice their private parts, okay, and their pussy starts growing, and you know, like I said, you can Google Denise Messino if you want to see what the ultimate outcome is. That's what the ultimate outcome is. So it starts out as a less spectrum of that, and this is with Anavar, okay? And this happens, this is like standard, you know, it's like if you take estrogen, you know, you get this under your nipples, you know, you grow breasts. Well, for them, this is what happens with them, you know, when they take androgens, and Anavar is an androgen. And, you know, so the first effect that they get, before the muscle building, before anything, okay, the first effect they get from Anavar is their pussy starts growing, okay? That is the first effect. Let me repeat that again. The first effect women get when they start taking Anavar is their pussy starts growing, okay? I couldn't make that any more freaking clear. I could not make that any more freaking clear. So with women, you know, it's on a spectrum of how much of that is acceptable to them. If they stop immediately, it will go back somewhat, but it will never be the same, you know, unless they stop like immediately, like in a couple days, right? But you know, if they don't stop immediately taking steroids, taking Anavar, when they notice this, it's permanent, and it gets progressively worse over time. But if they do stop, you know, it does come back some. It does. The pussy does not. It's not so big anymore. But yeah. Anyways, it's a pretty fucked up situation. So that's the reality on Anavar. That's the reality of women in Anavar. Obviously, this is something that is not talked about. It's not something that is glamorous at all. And you know, if any girls that did take Anavar were asked this, obviously they'd say no. It's the same guys with like that are on with Trenbolone, you know. You're like, oh, so are you able to like have an orgasm? And they're like, no. Yeah, right. They're not gonna say that to you. And you know, maybe they're on a dopamine agonist that destroys your heart, you know. And so then they'll be like, oh well, I'm on this drug, so now I can, right? Because then that makes it so that you still can when you're on tren. But it's like, oh well, now look at this freaking drug that I'm using to make that happen, right? This stuff's garbage, man. There's a lot of stuff in bodybuilding that's garbage. So in the book, you know, I just say it like it is. In the book Ultimate Guide to ROIDS by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand, and I just say it exactly like it is. I'm not protecting anybody's feelings. I'm not protecting any bodybuilder's feelings. I'm just saying it like in the pages of this book, man. This is the first time anything has ever been released like this in like bodybuilding and fitness. As somebody who actually knows what all this stuff does, has experienced it themselves, been deep in the industry, and now just says it, you know, without any corporate interests. So do with the information what you will, guys. Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand.